Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. All right guys, it is sale week and once again, I was talking all the colors and I talked too long. So if you want to see how I created this look with only sale shades, keep watching. This is going to be a get ready with me. We're going to talk how to apply with just the brushes on sale and how to create a look with these shades that are 40% off this week. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you missed part 1 where I show you guys everything on sale, go check that out. All right, let's do a quick face of only, as much as possible, of only, I have to use some highlight shades, but we're gonna use as much as possible, only things that will be on sale this week, including brushes in the US. I could cheat and use some of my favorite brushes that will be available in Canada, but let's use it as a challenge. First of all, we're going to, instead of using, we don't have a bronzer brush, so instead of using Bella bronzer, I'm going to use Fiji as my bronzer as a base. I'm gonna use this end of the powder brush because there's really other brushes that really can buff on the product in my opinion, so we're gonna try it. I'll be honest, I've never tried it with this method and I haven't used this in a while. So I don't use Fiji all the time, so I'm going to kind of just tap and make sure it isn't dried out on top. So I'm gonna put it everywhere I normally would bronze. So high points of the face. We got, oh gosh, now I got glitter in my hair from all, we're gonna go forehead, nose, cheeks, chin, but I also use a little bit to kind of just even out my skin tone as well. This is like underpainting method. Whew, I'm gonna get a bronzed look for sure. I really don't need any on my nose because my nose is already so dark. Okay, a little bit here where I'm lighter, just to kind of even out. You gotta kind of be careful with a brush like this because you see it can apply too much into one spot. You see that? So buff. Since we don't have a big fluffy brush without our bronzer brush. Okay, so I have to use some highlights that aren't in the sale, but it's because I need some coverage, right? I am going to use my color corrector because nothing else will get rid of that. I'm gonna use the blend brush because this end is a holy grail for me, and my color corrector. Okay, I'm also gonna use it anywhere I have darker spots, which you can tell, like, yes, that's a highlight. It gave me like a lot of warmth, but it really did not color correct. It just kind of made some areas look darker. So we're gonna use our color corrector. We gotta even out these dark spots. So I'm gonna use it on my full nose, because I know my main shade will not color correct that depth. It will only make it look textured. Okay, same thing. Any dark spots, You can even tell like how that just kind of made some of my dark spots look darker. So I'm gonna press on where I have dark spots and where my rosacea tends to pop. Okay, once I'm corrected, you can tell it already helped even out my tone quite a bit, but I'm too warm. I'm not ever this tan, right? I'm just gonna flip over and use the really light-handed side, the big fluffy brush. And this is where I'm gonna use my main, because that was kind of more of like an underpainting method. You still have to use a main foundation shade to kind of even out and tone down, really tone down that warmth. So I'm just gonna tap in, tell it doesn't pick up much, but just enough that it's gonna kind of help. Okay, you can also switch back to the more detailed side if you need to build up coverage anywhere, like under the eyes or dark spots. Using that method, I feel like I got even more coverage than normal because that first highlight built up coverage as well. Okay, but I didn't apply a whole lot of that shade since I did use this brush. So my goal is always just to let my skin shine through. I don't feel like I need bronzer, definitely not, but let's contour a little bit. I say a little, and I'm always like, yeah, I'll be honest, none of these brushes are my favorite to contour with. So the least amount of all evils, because a lot of these are small or they don't blend, and we'll just create that focused, dense line, which you have to work to blend out, which in turn will make all my dark spots shine through. I'm gonna try to use the buff. I've not used this in a very long time. Okay, of both ends, this end is too fat, if you can see how like wide it is. So we're gonna use the small end, and we're gonna use it kind of like to cup. And this is nice and dense, so we can press in order to blend it. Let's try it. I'm gonna go in with my cool tone. The hardest part with this brush for me is getting the product on evenly distributed, because I don't feel like it does. Like, it's such a dense brush that like wherever you touch it, it's hard to control how you're dipping in. Does that make sense? It's not my favorite, but all of our brushes are very versatile. You can use any of them. It's all just personal preference. So I'm gonna attempt, I don't know how much I've got on my actual brush, to be honest. You can always go back and dip in a little bit more. Okay, slowly build. So I'm just gonna tap along that line, slowly start tapping upwards to blend. I'm gonna kind of rotate my brush so that will blend upwards, since the majority of my product is still right there. Do you see that? Like, it just doesn't come off as easily. This is why I like the detail brush. Yeah. Every time I use a different brush, I don't like my contour. I feel like it's going on patchy. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If you have a brush you love to contour with, just keep using it. Okay, we're gonna try this again, see if I can get it a little less patchy. I feel like the dark spots are showing through, and that is not cool. Oh, so I'm gonna flip it back around, and I'm gonna try to blend with the big side. Just kind of press. Maybe that will kind of help. That's why I'm so picky about my brush, how I do it. Like, it is looking so splotchy to me. You guys might think I'm being really too picky, but it's like if I could just grab my detail brush, I would fix it really quick. But look at that. It's not going on evenly at all. I'm gonna try not to be too picky, guys. All right, I'm gonna try the other side, and I'm gonna try to like angle the brush more to see if I can control. I think I just pounced on the wrong side. Oh my gosh, let's just do forehead real quick. I'm like stressing about this brush. Okay, we're just gonna press. Foreheads are easy. Press along. I'm gonna get the big end to blend. This brush lends to pulling. The shape of it lends to like press and pulling, which with my method doesn't work well, because then it just like uncovers a lot. My forehead. This is why some people might really love this brush. You probably don't have problem skin like me. If you have a lot of dark spots and rosacea, it's probably not gonna be your best option. Okay, I'm gonna attempt. All right, I feel like I got the product a little bit better on there. Let's flip and see if we can just blend with the clean end. That was way better. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to redo. It's like I got this hole right here. It's also taking far too long. Have you guys not noticed that I like to be as efficient as possible? Like, this is way too time consuming. All right, it's gonna have to do. It still keeps coming off right there. It's gonna drive me absolutely crazy, not wanting to blend. And I exfoliated today, so it's not that. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna grab the Bright brush and I'm gonna actually brighten with this brush. I like to use as little brightener as possible now. So I'm gonna try to just pick up a little bit with this end. Oh, I feel like I'm already getting too much. And kind of blend with the other end. Just to add a little bit of brightness to my inner corner. A lot of times I just skip this lately, but we're gonna do a little detail brightening right there. Then I'm gonna use that big end to then kind of tap in. And this is where I like to brighten the side of my nose because you can tell it's darker, which widens the nose. So we're just gonna lighten the side, give an appearance of a smaller nose, right? And then you can go right down the middle as well. I didn't contour the nose, but if you're gonna brighten, I concentrate right next to the nose for a little bit of light. I feel like my face is lacking light because that Fiji was so dark. I feel like I'm looking very bronzed. Not a bad thing. Just bronzed. All right, I'm going to perfect and we can get to the fun colors. Like I always do, using the powder brush, we're gonna just tap, wiggle, and set both under eyes. I'm gonna swipe and set my eyelids so I am ready for eyeshadow. And anywhere you're prone to creasing. I'm gonna use a color that's not on sale. That is my eyebrow shade, but the line brush is my holy grail eye filler inner brush. Okay, brows are done. I'm gonna use the multitasker to cover up this blemish. Show you how I do this. So a little bit of mango, which is my corrector. Okay, sometimes I put a little my main shade if it's still looking dark. And then powder to set. Disappear. Let's pick a lip and cheek. Now I'm gonna go back to this brush because I feel like this brush is going to pick up a whole lot of product. Now, if I was just gonna apply, here are my thoughts. Okay, here are our options, right? So we have the blend, the wash, the buff, and the powder, okay? If I was using a matte shade and I didn't color correct and I could literally sweep on a blush, I would use the wash or the powder. Because of the way these bristles are, they work great with mattes. I feel like they don't apply the glosses well. If I was applying a matte only and I wanted a lot of pigmentation, I would pick I would pick the large side to kind of tap on. This will pick up a large amount, hard to distribute. This is a little bit more flexible. It's not gonna pick up as much. It can be a little bit hard to pick up product next to it in the tin, so just be wary of that. But I'm going to use a little bit of a color. Can you guys guess? I think you probably can guess. Yeah, I'm gonna use this for just a touch of pigmentation. I wanna show you guys that Jolene is not scary, okay? I'm gonna make sure it's not dry. Okay, I'm gonna just barely tap in. I say barely, I tapped in like 20 times, but like, you'll see it's not gonna be crazy. I like this because I can barely touch my face, yet it's gonna deposit that color so I can get just a wash of pigment. You see how it's just got a little bit of that? It's just like a natural flush glow. It's not bright or extreme. I don't do super bright blush. So even though this is a very bright pigmented shade, doesn't mean you have to wear it that way. But if you do like a bolder blush, especially for summer, you can build it up until it gets at the depth you want. That's why these pigmented shades are great. You can just use a little or a lot. And if you do like just a little bit like this, say you don't like this dewy look, but you want a little bit of sheen to your skin, this is the one that has a little bit of shimmer. Do you see that? It will add that without any sticky tacky feeling because this is a matte shade. It just has a little bit of that sheen to it. And I feel like it shows up once it's on, like more so than it does even in the tan. If that's enough color for you, you could totally go in with literally any of the like glowy lighter shades. Tropicana would look beautiful over this. Ibiza would tone down the warmth a little bit. Grape would tone it down a lot. Either of these, pineapple or tangerine, would kind of warm it up a little bit more and give the glow. Hopelessly Devoted would give a lot of shimmer and cool it down as well. August would also cool it down a little bit. Or you could even use one of the lighter, cooler tones as kind of like that highlight right here. And I mean, there's so many options. I'm gonna pick one of my favorites because I am very excited that it's coming back even for a short time. And because I wanna wear it because I haven't got to wear it because it's been gone, and that's Tango. So again, remember this one's pigmented, so I'm just gonna barely tap in. And this is gonna add a little bit more pink. But again, it's gonna add a little bit of glow. You don't need much because it's gonna add a little bit of color. But can you tell the difference? A little bit of glow, a little bit more pink tones. Again, be really gentle when you're tapping in so it doesn't get all in one place on this brush, which you can kind of tell exactly where you touch it. Oh, I love that shade. Is that combo not pretty? Like, most people would probably be like, that combo is scary, Sarah. Not scary. It's all an application method. That's it. Our colors are so versatile. You can wear them as bold or as sheer as you like. Let's go ahead and top that with Illuminator. I'm gonna use one of the perfumes that is on sale, which is a rose gold. And I just kind of swipe in, tap it on. You can kind of smell it through the day. At first, I never thought I'd like it on my cheeks, but occasionally you get kind of like a whiff. Like, it's not right under your nose, but like with the wind, like, I don't know. It's kind of a nice little surprise. And I guess if you want to put it behind the ear and on your wrist, anywhere you want to smell good. Such a great multitasker as well. Okay, let's do lips real quick. Again, multitasker. I'm just going to use my contour color, which was Astoria. I'm gonna do a quick line and then we'll pick a lip color. Okay, if you want most pigmentation, you can use, again, this larger flat end of the multitasker, and it's just gonna apply any color more heavily, right? Otherwise, you can use your finger, you can kind of dot it on for a little bit of sheer color. I think I'm going to use Ibiza, which is cool and nude. You can kind of see with that gray contour, it will give a very nude lip, but it's a little bit too nude for me, so I'm gonna brighten it up a bit. Oh yeah, I'm going in with Tangerine. This is the way I'm gonna warm it up. It doesn't look orange. We just added a little bit of warmth. I think Tangerine or Tropicana would work in that very much the same way. Tropicana is just a little bit less warm. And then I'm gonna use Hopelessly Devoted in the center, just for a little shimmer, kind of make my lips look a little bigger. Time for eyes. There are so many great options, but there are no like neutral matte tones. There's 3 mattes, I think: Amethyst, Leo, and Havana. And the Havana and Leo give no depth. Amethyst is too dark for the crease. So I'm gonna cheat and use a mid-tone matte for my crease because I need one. Otherwise, these aging eyelids, not so pretty. Let's use the blur brush. I'm gonna show you how you can use this. And also using that brush cleaning towel. I always wanna call it an eyeshadow switcher because that's what I called it for years. I am just gonna grab basic, one of the most basic shades we have, a nice cool for very neutral. We're just gonna pop that in the crease first. We're gonna kind of define, lift my hooded lids, carve out the crease. Now when using this end, since it's a little bit larger, at least on my small eyes, it's large, just large enough. Since it's larger than this small end, I have to kind of use the very tip of it so it doesn't get too far down on my lower lash line. It is so hard for me to decide which of these colors to use, you guys. Definitely between Havana and Leo. I'm gonna use that to lift my hooded eyelids, all right? So let's try Havana. Leo has the same effect in my opinion. I just feel like I need to use less because it's a little bit darker. Personal preference, but I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna do this right over where I did basic. Okay, so this is gonna kind of just add some warmth and brighten. Now, I have a large lid space, so for me, this helps kind of blend that foreshade into the rest up here and kind of lift when I brighten. It adds warmth against that cool tone as well. So I like to do this when I'm using a cool crease shade. It gives a very nice transition before the brow bone color, which we don't have any one tones. We don't have any ones, and I'm not gonna put glitter up there. So you can use your eyeshadow, you can use your illuminator, perfume will work as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Multi-purpose. There we go. Brighten step done. This is really hard for me because so many of these are my favorites. Like I want to show you guys Kiss and Crush and Stardust and Cranberry and Moscow and Snowbird. And all of them would look beautiful by themselves on the lid with this as a base. All of them, so good. I think even an ombre of Crush, Kiss, Moscow, or Ginger. Oh gosh, there's too many options. You could do a bronzy eye, just use Stardust, Snowbird on the lid, a little bit of Fen or Rigoletto along the lash line. Which one? Should we do a summer eye or a neutral eye? So if you want the most neutral, my options would be Crush or Stardust on the lid. Both of those, staple shades. Snowbird. A little bit darker, bronzier, but you can wear it more light-handed as well. I feel like I'm always wearing Crush. I did a very peachy look already, so let's try something different. I'm gonna show you guys Moscow in a very wearable way. So we're just gonna use, again, I'm still using this, but you could use the eyeshadow brush or any of these with fluffy brushes. I'm gonna just do tap, tap on the side. I'm gonna do a light hand on the lid just to get a little bit of that color. You can kind of see it gives that warmth. It's not super bold. You can totally build it up if you want it bold, but we're just gonna use that kind of on the first half of the eye. For the outer half of the eye, we're going in with Ginger. I'm gonna use my finger and I'm just gonna tap it so I can really control placement and keep it out of the crease. I love this color. If you feel like it looks a little bit dark, that's when I'd say grab either kiss or crush and kind of just do a little bit right in the center of the lid. Because they both have kind of that gold shimmer, I feel like it will kind of tone down and add lightness to the center of the eye. So there's just a little bit of crush right in between the two shades to kind of blur them together and add light. This is probably the lightest, this one, or even Stardust. Kind of adds light, gives a nice ombre effect. And you can always use your brush cleaning tile, clean that off, kind of just do a nice light blending between those colors. And if you don't like Moscow, cranberry would be a good substitution for that. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of black liner just for definition. Really quick along the lash line. And I'd say 3 options: Rigoletto, Fin, or Snowbird. Again, I'm just gonna go in with this blur brush. I'm gonna go in with Fin because it's one of my all-time faves. I'm just gonna tap in and I'm gonna add some depth to that outer corner into the crease. This will kind of add a little bit of neutrality since it is a very bronzy neutral. Pull that slightly on that lower lash line. And if Fin is too dark, I would say both Rigoletto and Snowbird can give similar but lighter effects. And one of my favorite deep dark shades, I'm gonna go in with Eve and the Multitasker to add a little bit of color along the upper lash line. Now this doesn't give a whole lot of depth. It gives a little bit of depth, but since it's got shimmer, that's why I went in with a little bit of black liner to add that depth and thicken the lash line look. Okay, let's end with a little mascara. Okay friends, there you go. There's our finished look with some fun sale shades. I think it turned out really fun. Not too warm, not too cool, neutral, but not just all neutral. Sometimes those are my favorite. A nice mix. Pairing unexpected shades together and seeing what happens. You guys know I like to experiment, right? So there you go. I hope that gave you some new ideas of color pairings or way to use brushes, being creative with the colors in your palette. If you missed part 1 and just want to see all the swatches and comparisons, go check that out. If you're needing help with your Seint 3D foundation or an eyeshadow match, I do custom eyeshadow matches and 3D and Demi. I will link all of my color match questionnaires down in the drop box below the video, as well as the pinned comment, and I'd be happy to help you. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Love you.